Hello!
Hello.
Boy, it's been a while.
It's
This
been-
guy, I swear.
We went on a little hiatus, okay, and we can explain that because we have
It's
a
not
lot
our
to talk
fault.
about.
Yeah, we
today.
do. We have I don't know, because for me it's the most I've ever had, but you have a lot you talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Actually, don't know. I just said that.
I
but
think I did.
this might be the most small talk we've ever had.
Yeah.
And that's lucky because I don't know how, my topic might be a bit shorter, if that's okay.
But it's
Okay.
fine. I think we should start off by explaining why it's been so long. So there's kind of a whole story to go along with it too. Which
Yeah, it's
will be
pretty
fun.
cool.
But essentially, there was a big old storm that rolled through where we live, and well, in all actuality, it really wasn't that big at all. But our power somehow still ended up going out.
Yeah, and,
Because they didn't do anything to help.
well, what's also crazy is that we just had a storm like a few weeks ago, maybe
Yeah.
even almost a month ago. That was the same thing. Power went out, but that one was bigger.
The
Yeah,
main- the
that
main
one was
issue-
bigger, and the power was out for less time.
Yeah,
that
I
time.
don't know. It's
The
weird.
main issue is they didn't do anything
Yeah.
to help because my mom literally called the company. They said they're sending out people, and then she got a text the next day, or not the next day, the same day, saying that they're sending people. It's like I thought, you, or no, they're not even. They weren't even sending them yet. They were preparing to send them.
Yeah.
It's like
all right, guys. You ready?
Yeah,
I was
getting
like-
dressed.
Hype
It's
them
like
up.
how are you
Eating
gonna
a nice
say that you
breakfast.
Yeah.
are already doing it, and then proceed to
Yeah.
the like a while later saying now we're
This is
preparing
why
to send them.
communication is so important.
But the reason we couldn't record because
Yes.
we were jumping through a bunch of different loopholes trying to figure out, how to
Yeah,
record.
And
We're
my
gonna record
phone,
at my house.
my phone was dead, so I wasn't getting any of these
Yeah.
texts.
So we were gonna record at Hunter's house,
And
but
then
the
the power
power
went out.
the power was out. So then we were gonna record at his grandma's house, and the reason that didn't work is, meanwhile all of this, like Luke said, his phone.
Yes,
is
I didn't know
dead.
any of this.
Yeah, so Luke was in the dark about all of this.
Literally.
Yeah. My
funny.
garage door wouldn't open because the only way to open it is with the clicker, and that requires power, the automatic door. Because the door on the side of the garage has been sealed for like ever, because the lock is broken.
What
What?
are you doing? You're just like
Oh, I was just making sure it's in there.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so why that matters is because my equipment was in my car, and without the equipment, you can't record. So
We could have taken a crowbar and opened the door.
oh,
We have to do the
We
podcast.
tried.
Oh, you actually did?
My grandma and I, we got a crowbar like under the door, and we tried like lifting it up, but
We
it-
have to do the
it,
podcast.
yeah, it was so heavy, and we almost like smashed our fingers in the door, so we just said
Aw.
probably not. And then we tried for like an hour at like the other door trying to break it open, but we couldn't. So
That's very sad.
sorry about the hiatus,
Mhm.
but we're back and better than ever.
We were all just trapped in a garage. That's
Yeah.
all.
Should,
Yeah.
should I just post this episode as soon as it's ready? I mean, because we haven't had one in a minute, or should
Yeah.
we just
Well-
stick to the schedule?
Well, that
I don't know.
depends on. I don't know. Because then there won't be one for Friday, and then be another longer gap. So.
yeah, we can just
Mm.
stick to the schedule.
Yeah.
So sorry for the long wait that you'll be enduring. I know there's so many
I know.
people that are really affected
Well,
by
actually,
this.
know.
I always
there's
do have people
there's
who are.
thousands of millions of
I
people.
usually have at least
affected
2 or
by
3
this right
people
now.
who are like, "Hey, you missed the episode," you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
always something, but
Well, we hear you.
yes, we do.
The podcast is not over. We are still alive.
Yeah.
For
We got
a
out
little
of the
bit
garage.
longer.
Not
I
for
think.
long.
Yeah. But yeah,
So-
that's my first little story.
Should we lead off with your big small talk first?
Sure, we can go straight into it. I'm engaged now.
Yo.
Yeah,
See a
I'm. My ring.
He doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah,
the
duh.
ring.
Yeah.
I thought.
He's
Well,
you
engaged.
go.
No. when you
No.
get married, you both get.
I
a
thought
ring.
there wasn't there an engagement ring too, or
Yeah,
no?
you give it to the girl.
Oh, but
Yeah,
the
you give it
guy
to
doesn't
the
get
girl.
one.
No.
Not until marriage.
Ah,
no.
not until marriage.
The guy
Oh,
gets
okay.
the guy gets
When
a
you-
wedding
At your
band.
wedding, you both get.
All
But
right,
the
I'm
guy
ring.
doesn't typically get an engagement ring unless they're the one proposed to, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But-
See, I don't know.
But he didn't do that.
I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot about this. I saw the thing you posted on Instagram. I was being kind of stalkily here. I'm sorry. I'm not usually like that, but I was like, I want to know because I'm like,
It's
oh,
not
I want to know
stalk-
everything. Oh my
it's not
gosh, I want to know every little detail.
It's
but
not stalk.
You're seeing
Yeah, I don't know.
you're seeing your one of your friends' engagements. That's not stalking.
I,
it's
I
just-
always just feel weird reading people's feeds. I'm like, they don't know I'm doing this right now. I'm looking into
Yeah.
their life and they don't know. That's
Yeah.
weird. But it was a cool little like video you did because it was edited very like.
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah,
cool.
the
It was
film
cool.
edit. Yeah, that was fun to do.
I like that.
But yeah, I proposed on the beach. If you want to see the video, go to Bajcar05 on Instagram. BAJCAR05. I almost forgot how to spell my own name. For a second. But yeah, go and watch it. It's pretty cool. I had fun editing it. But we were on vacation, obviously, and that was fun. That was a pretty good
Mhm.
trip overall. I forgot to mention that because it's been a minute. But yeah,
Yeah.
vacation was good.
Yeah. So I actually didn't know you were on vacation. I forgot you were on vacation, so you sent a
Yeah.
picture of that lobster.
Oh yeah.
Lobster.
Oh yeah. There was
Lobster.
this giant. I'll have to send a picture of it,
Longster.
or put a picture of it in the episode.
Longster.
Yeah, Longster. But we were walking. So we were walking through the aquarium.
Oh.
And it wasn't that great of an aquarium. It was pretty.
Oh.
We saw a shark eat another fish. That was pretty cool.
Yo, that's
pretty
tough.
cool. That is tough.
But we were walking through the aquarium and we were like, hey, it's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden we hear somebody walking past us talking, and they're like, there was a giant lobster in that tank over there. And I was like, oh my god, sprinting over there.
Gas.
It was the biggest lobster I've ever seen. It was like kind of hard to see because it was like up top, kind of hiding. But my gosh, that was Rotten Ralph right there.
Yeah, it was him.
That, I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
It was one of
yeah.
his descendants.
That
It,
is-
wait, so
Yeah.
is it? Did it remind you of the giant SCP lobster that like lives in space?
What?
What?
So I went down an SCP rabbit hole one time years ago, and there was
I
like
mean,
one
so
that
did
was,
I, but I don't
there's
remember
one that's just like a
lobster.
giant lobster that just flies around in space and like just like destroys
Oh.
things.
I never saw that one. I went through the same rabbit hole, but
There's
I never
so
saw that
many,
one.
dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones and some that are just like memes, like that aren't even like yeah, it's fun.
The stalker.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know.
But yeah, it's
Well,
good.
yeah, I've never seen that. I mean, that sounds less scary, but more
Really?
cool. I mean, that sounds pretty cool to
I guess
me.
so.
A
Yeah, that'd
giant
be cool.
space lobster.
Until it's,
wanna
until
I
it's
wanna see
looming
that
above
guy.
you and
Yeah, yeah.
snips the.
Okay, so what?
But yeah, this lobster was enormous.
That's cool.
But anyways, yeah, engaged now. It's pretty cool. Honestly, I don't know if I have much more small talk outside of that. To be
All right,
honest.
No.
I wrote down all my small talk because
Should I go?
yeah, you go, and then
So I've been playing Grounded again.
Oh, yeah,
we
you've been
haven't.
texting
I
us
don't
about
think I've
this.
talked about it a while since
it's been a while.
it's been a while since I played the game. I was gonna play with my friend, and then constantly
died.
sitting here waiting for him to get on. Never gets on.
And then power goes.
It never gets on. And then we finally got on the one day that we got the power went on.
Haha,
Oh, great.
haha.
I mean, we played in a one world for a little bit, and then he never got on again. So I just kind of was going through. I just played a world that we had like a long time ago, and I'm just started going through the game. I 100% of the game
Yeah.
in terms of like in game 100%. The annoying thing is I should have 100% for the achievements, but for some ungodly reason, one achievement wants to go. No,
Why?
you didn't do that.
You should
I
have-
literally have everything I need. I looked it up. I'm like, do I need this? Do I need
Yeah.
all this stuff? Nope, I don't need any of that stuff. I just needed to do this. I did all that stuff. Nope.
So you
Didn't
gotta-
give me the achievement,
you
so I
have
have
to do it
to.
again?
So I'm gonna go through what I'm gonna do since I've. Well, my plan was already to just like restart on like a whole
Oh
new world.
no.
I want to do that.
Yeah, I guess
So it's not because I want to. In this world, I want to get every single thing.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
game
yeah.
that I can.
It's like true 100%.
Like all the charms, all the
puzzle pieces.
gold cards, everything that's in the game before I remix. Which
Okay.
remixing is like New Game Plus in that game,
Ah.
and it's really
Yeah,
cool.
remix. That is
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that leads into my topic pretty well because things are going to change pretty drastically in our lives concerning playing games together. Because I am finally going to get a PC very soon.
Ooh.
I probably have enough to get it now in my account, but I'm just waiting to get my dorm stuff first. So
Excited.
Okay.
yeah, so and we'll talk about it here on too, but I don't know, maybe we shouldn't say, but I was wondering about the possibility of doing stuff like on the channel even like
Oh, that'd
for
be fun.
gaming. Would
Yeah.
that
We
be
can-
possible?
We can also make a gaming one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's one
suppose.
stricter for me.
I've
I can change my YouTube channel.
I've experienced doing that kind of stuff.
You do?
So, yeah.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Yeah. So we
So-
can.
What I'll say is just if that does happen, I have a few games I want to play first that I think are like dream games I want to play with people, and that is Repo, Lethal Company, and there's one more.
Grounded.
Well, no, not Grounded, but that is eventually we'll
the
do.
Forest.
The Forest. It was the
Phasmo-
Forest.
Did you say Phasmophobia?
Well, that one too, but that
yeah. The Forest is.
Repo, Lethal Company, and the Forest.
I
are
will
the
say
big three.
the Forest and Repo are probably the priority of that. That
Yeah.
not saying I don't like Lethal Company,
But
the
yeah.
only thing about Lethal Company is I think it's a less interesting version of Repo.
I agree. Well,
That's
yeah,
all.
and we'll see because I feel like because I don't know anything about Repo, I just know it's
Yeah.
more. So
it's so fun.
I know once you
and
get-
there's so much cool stuff.
oh, and, okay, there's one more
I
game,
can't
and
wait
that
to play
was
the Forest because like.
so the Forest, Repo, and Guilty as Sock. Those are the big three, I
Uh-huh.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe look out for those on the channel.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll post some
But
gameplay videos.
yeah,
see what
because
goes
first it's like it's so hard to schedule hangouts. We just haven't been doing it lately because
Right.
there's been just so much going
There's
on.
one hangout we have to do that, the Skylander one.
Well, yeah.
That one has to
And
happen.
this is going to be probably a good transition into going digital for the podcast because
Oh, yeah.
which we
Because I got
might
the
have to
PC.
do
Honestly,
soon.
I think what we should do is once Luke gets the PC, I think we should just go digital.
You think so? Well, I
Probably,
think I
maybe.
want to keep because I want to have like one last episode
Yeah.
in the.
Well, I also need to get my
Well,
conference
our 100th episode is coming up soon,
ah.
and I want to do something special for that. I
Actually-
think this might be our 90th episode.
Ooh.
So,
I do
Um,
need to. The thing is, actually, I do need to get a headset and a mic
mhm.
and maybe a camera.
Mike.
And maybe a camera, because I
Oh, like a webcam. So
like a
you-
webcam.
So you can be like
Yes. Yeah.
show your face.
if we're
Five Nights at
if we're,
Freddy's
if we're
jump
gonna
scare.
do that,
Mhm.
because I'm assuming we're gonna be in a Discord call or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
probably something like that.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out that other that technical stuff out later. But yeah. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recent recs.
Oh wow.
The first one is one I've been meaning to recent rec for like probably a month now, and I just keep forgetting somehow, even though it's one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Okay.
And I sent one text about it, and neither of you responded. I said I want to play Bug Snacks. Have either of you heard of this
I
game?
told.
Yeah,
I thought I
I've seen
texted
it.
you about
I've seen
that.
it. Yeah.
It looks the whole thing
Oh.
about it is like like everyone thought it looked really like silly and stupid. What?
We're on no, that's 103 subscribers. I'm stupid. Well, this is 91. This is our 91st episode.
Okay.
of recording.
Yeah. So Bug Snacks it's an indie game,
Mhm.
and what it's I don't know how to explain. It's very similar to Pokemon,
Right.
but the critters are all like they're a mix of bugs and snacks.
Mhm.
Bug snacks.
Yes,
So
yes.
you'll get like little carrots that crawl around called roodles and giant centipede sandwiches called sandipedes. But it's also like giant ones like giant flying pizza. Like it's all
Yeah.
and it's really cool. It's just like cool giant creatures. But it's also like so this deep lore story that's going on with the island, and all the characters have like their backstories, and the personalities are amazing. Their writing is spectacular.
So
Like,
have you played the game?
I've beaten it. Yeah.
Oh,
I've beaten
okay.
it. I told you I'm meaning to raise rank for weeks because
Oh, right.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
yeah, writing is great. Character design is amazing. And it's like so you catch the Bug Snacks and then you feed them to like the people in your town, the Grumpuses.
yeah.
What?
You catch them and you feed them to people.
Yeah,
Oh,
and when you yeah. So the way I've heard this game described is a psychological horror game for kids. For kids,
Oh, okay.
because the ending, I can't even describe the ending.
That's
Is it messed
insane.
up?
It's messed up.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so what happens is you feed them the Bug Snacks. So say it's like the Frider, which is a spider like fry, like French fry thing,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
and you feed them the Frider, and like you can transform part of their body into that snack.
Right.
So you'll
What?
have like so you can turn like your people in your town into like giant walking like pretzels or French
Yeah.
fry, anything. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
but it's
crazy.
but. If you think about it for a little bit, that's a bit upsetting, isn't it? Like,
Because you start eating people.
well, that, but also just like you're. No one knows anything about Bug Snacks. They're just like,
Right.
oh, these cool things we found. Let's eat them and turn ourselves in. But like,
Oh, they are people, aren't they?
Well,
Oh no.
I won't tell you the
don't
twist,
know
but the
why.
ending of the game had me like my jaw was on the floor. I was like,
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
That sounds
That would be a
pretty
fun
good.
hangout because we could beat that whole game in one sitting.
This reminds me of a theory that I saw about the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah, it's very similar to
The
that.
cannibal. That,
Well, yeah, there parts of it are similar.
I saw that. I'm like, I saw the title. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, it's really
And
interesting.
then I was like, okay, I gotta watch this video, and it's actually insane,
It's
and
funny.
it might be true.
I've
It's
seen that.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bug Snacks is a really, really good video game. Like the gameplay is so good. Everything about it is just fantastic, and it's just and you'll go into it thinking this is just some fun little goofy game, and like Moist Critical gave it a 9,
Oh wow.
90% on Moist.
I remember it came out when the PS5 came out. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it was
no.
like-
What?
No, yeah, well, there was
Yeah.
like the PS5 game.
Everyone was comparing it to GTA 5, and they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be
What?
better than GTA 5," and like making jokes about it. But then it actually was really, really good.
It's gonna be better than GTA
So, it
5,
might have
even
been-
though GTA 5's already out.
I think it might have been sooner. What?
Oh yeah.
This one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That's what I was showing him.
Okay, so that's the first one. Brilliant game. You should play it. The second one is a movie, which I don't think I've ever resurrected a movie on the
Oh wow.
podcast.
That's crazy.
It's actually a movie
Ooh.
series, but there's one movie in particular that I don't know if it's still in theaters because it's
Okay.
been so long. But I saw the new Mission Impossible movie,
Oh really?
The Final Reckoning.
Okay.
Have either of you heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard about
Oh,
it.
no.
Yeah,
haven't.
it was fantastic.
Really?
I mean, I saw well, I hadn't seen any of the other movies yet, so
Yeah.
I didn't know. But
I haven't watched any.
I thought it was just so much fun. Like
Yeah.
me and my dad and my brother went, and we were all just like the whole time, like with our hands on our heads, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And Tom Cruise does all his own stunts, so it's like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like dangling on a plane over a giant ravine.
Yeah.
Like it's just cool. It's just
Yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
And then I went and binged the first 4, and then I had to wait for the 5th one to come out on Netflix to keep going. But
Oh, okay.
they're great. They're
Cool,
just
cool.
fun, goofy.
Nice movie rack.
Yeah, movie rec.
Yeah.
Getting out
I mean,
there.
it's so like, it's so popular, but
Mhm.
it's just I just love it.
Yeah.
A fun fact I found out about that, everyone knows the theme song, right? The
Mhm. Yeah.
I found out that is actually Morse code for MI, which is Mission
That's
Impossible.
cool.
Duh,
Oh.
long, short, long,
Oh,
short,
I
short.
didn't know that.
That is
pretty
really cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's that. Let's see what else.
Awesome.
Okay, so I have 2 books here that I went and got at
Mhm.
Barnes and Nobles.
He has them right here.
I do. So this is the first manga I've finished.
Oh, it's a manga. Oh, I've seen like pictures of that.
Yeah.
I'll show you the one you've probably seen.
I've actually been wanting to read that for a long time.
Well, I'll give it to you. I will give it to you today.
Oh,
You can-
really?
You can go home with it. Yeah, because I've already read it.
Is that all of
I
it
read
right
it all in
there?
one day. It's the whole manga. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, this is Uzumaki, written by.
Yes, that
Junji
frame
Ito.
is what I've seen.
Yeah.
So I heard about this. A lot of YouTubers talk about Junji Ito specifically. I've already ordered some more of his books because it's so good.
Yeah.
I was great. I read it all in one day. It's a horror book, but it's very like surreal horror.
Okay.
And I don't think a book has ever like kept me up at night like this book has. Like after I finished
Really?
reading it, I was like I
Is it
couldn't
that
fall
is
asleep.
creepy?
It's creepy.
Oh,
And like
cool.
while I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is fun and cool.
Mhm.
And then after I was done, I was like, okay, but now I'm scared.
Yeah.
um.
Have they made like an anime off this?
So they made an anime. The first episode was spectacular, and then there were 3 more episodes, and they were all the worst anime ever. Like the animation was all. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to it, but
That's sad.
it's sad because it's such a brilliant thing.
Mhm.
So basically, the plot of Uzumaki, which means spiral in Japanese, I think, yeah, which is that this town is contaminated with this spiral curse, and everything is starting to turn. Like, there's all kinds of things that are like turning into spirals, and spirals are like affecting people in like strange ways. When people die, their ashes turn into spirals above the town, and like there's this mystery going on. And it's really cool. And it's very weird. You get so sucked into the world that you just like accept weird things that are happening. What's
Yeah.
cool is that there's layers of that, but the characters also start spiraling on their own. Like one character spirals into insanity, and one of them spirals into like complacency with everything. And
You might have to let me borrow it.
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will let you borrow it after this. And then the other one is a book that you have read that I've wanted to read
Yes.
for a long time, and I'm actually really happy I'm holding it in my hand right now because it feels very nice.
It does feel very nice. As someone who's trying to get a book published, I want my book cover to feel like his.
Yes, Cormac McCarthy's
Yes.
Blood Meridian, which is I
But
think.
all of his covers feel like that.
Yeah, I know. I
It's so
went to a
nice.
section in Barnes and Noble, and I was just like,
Yeah.
Books.
yeah, yeah, Hunter. Don't worry, this is my last book I recommend. Blood Meridian is, I think, McCarthy's most famous book,
Yeah, probably.
besides maybe No Country for Old Men, but that's because it's a movie.
Yeah.
But Blood Meridian is famous for being just really. I haven't gotten to the parts yet. That's really gruesome, but
Oh yeah.
apparently it's really upsetting and terrible. I know Judge Holden. I know some of his quotes. It's like anything that exists without my knowledge exists without my consent.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a pretty cool quote.
Mhm.
So I know about him obviously, and it's kind of the reason I wanted to read this book because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And because Wendigoon covered it so obviously, I've been on a big Wendigoon craze.
He's a very interesting character.
Wendigoon?
Yeah, him too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at my playtime for Grounded, right?
Okay.
213.3 hours.
Yeah.
on
Okay.
Grounded,
That's
right?
pretty good.
That's
You know what my
very good.
second most played game is? I think it's Black Ops 6 with 73 hours.
Didn't they just announce a new Black Ops game already?
Yeah.
And everyone
Yeah.
was like, what?
But yeah, Black Ops 6 for 73 hours.
700.
That's your second most played game.
Yeah. Because I play- 'cause Well, it's because when I got it, I was just like constantly grinding for
Yeah.
cameras
I
and
mean, I
stuff
played
like that.
zombies a lot.
That's
but
what I was playing,
It got
zombies.
really boring after a while. I didn't
But
like
that's
the-
insane. It goes from 212 hours
Yeah.
to 73.
Yeah, that's
That's
a big
like-
jump.
Really, really big jump.
So speaking of Wendigoon, by the way,
Ooh.
I've listened a lot to his
Oh.
podcast.
Mhm.
I know.
What's it called?
You've been
Creepcast.
been cheating
It's-
on our podcast.
Yeah, it's him and Meat Canyon, and my
Oh, Meat
Ooh,
Canyon.
Meat Canyon. I love Meat
my
Canyon.
inspiration for this episode was I was listening to their podcast. I was like, okay, we have to do something like this.
Oh.
I wanted to save it for Halloween, but I might not. Well, because the one. So what today the thing I'm going to talk about is very it's I'm gonna be reading you guys a creepy story.
Okay.
It is also just so happens to be a very, very long story, so we're
Oh.
not going to finish it in this episode.
Oh.
But every now and then I might be like, hey, we're going to keep reading that story because the ending of it is so amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, and I don't know. Once you start reading, you'll understand why I'm talking about it like this.
Okay.
But it really is worth it to
Okay.
read and for you to react to all the stuff that happens in it. It's also
Right.
very heavy. So this isn't for younger audiences. Just fair warning.
Yeah.
This episode isn't going to be.
Mm.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Creepcast. All they do is just talk to each other and read scary stories and watch scary media. And like
Ooh.
analog horror,
Sounds like
they
fun.
read creepypastas. It's really really fun
That
and
sounds
cool.
fun. And we like scary things at
We
this podcast.
do?
We have
Ooh.
multiple spooky episodes.
I'm holding one very scary book and one book that's just nothing gross.
Yeah. What, honey?
So wait, are we gonna for the gaming stuff before we get into the
Okay.
this stuff? 'cause
I have
it's
one
gonna
more
be
thing to
very-
recommend, but
Yeah. When we get into like the gaming part of the channel,
Mhm.
like, are we just like, are we gonna change the name to 3 Media Junkies Gaming and like change the logo to that? Or
No,
something
no,
like
no,
that? Or are we
we-
just gonna keep the
Just
same?
Post it on the same
we'll
channel.
post it on
Okay.
the same channel.
Yeah.
We'll do a playlist or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, my last recent rec is a very little known game. I don't think many people have heard of. It's called Minecraft.
Oh.
Really?
Yes.
Your recent
do
recent
you do in
wrecking
that one?
Minecraft. Your
First
recent
you mind, then you
your
craft.
recent wrecking Minecraft.
I'm recent wrecking Minecraft.
Okay.
I've made my opinion on this very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Minecraft very much. I didn't really like. I saw the movie. I was like, that's fun, but it's like not really my thing. I usually play with other people.
Yeah.
My brother and I have spent, I think, 110 days in our Minecraft world over this week.
That's baby.
I
numbers.
know, but for me, I've never spent more than probably 12 days in a Minecraft world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for me, this is like I finally realized why this game is so popular.
Playing survival. Is
Yes,
what
playing
we're
a survival world. My brother and I have a big house. We have a farm with all like the animals, and that's just fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm bored, so I built a giant wizard's tower that
Yep.
I just have looming over my thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
put lightning rods on top of it, so it just like lightning strikes it every now and then.
Oh,
It looks
yeah,
really
it's
cool.
cool.
I have like a library in it and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
it's just fun. You just get to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. it's
sit
great.
there for hours grinding out one material so you can build something cool. Like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
My brother and I already have plans to build like a Wild West style like street
Ooh.
with like saloons and stuff on either
Oh,
side.
I want to do my
Yeah.
Minecraft world and build a Wild
We
West.
need to.
Oh.
we
that's
can
what
do that.
Ooh.
We need
can
to
do
get
that.
we need to play Minecraft together.
We
Yeah.
should.
We should do a
On the
Minecraft
channel.
a Minecraft survival world, but we are only allowed to do Wild West related
The
things.
issue.
Ooh.
We have to talk in an
there's
accent the whole time.
There's mods you can get like just Wild West stuff.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with Minecraft is I'm assuming we'll probably be playing Java since that's probably the best thing. 'cause
I don't even know what that means.
Java is like the PC version of Minecraft,
Okay.
but you can get free mods and stuff like that. The only annoying part about Java is that you have to pay money for a server.
Oh,
But if you
for us to
there's
all play together, you have to give
Yeah,
money.
it's called Realms or whatever.
Oh.
not just Realms.
Not just
That's
Realms.
that's I mean there is Realms, but there's
that's
legit.
the console version. I think.
Well, and there's also one for PC, but there's just there's legit servers you can play that you can make with your friends that are you have to pay for them as well.
How
Really?
much are they?
I don't know. it
So
just
we can't play
depends.
together unless we pay money.
We can,
Oh,
but we'll have to pay for it. Or there's another way we can do it called there's a mod called Essentials, which is like free multiplayer, but it lags a lot more than normal multiplayer.
well, we'll see if
than
it's
multiplayer.
not too
probably
much.
not that
If it's
much
not that
money.
much, yeah. Is it a
Um,
subscription?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we'll
that's
see.
the only part.
Other thing too is that I don't really delve into the mod world yet. I don't know if I would like it as much. I want to do
Trust me,
I want to do
modding
just
is
like
so
a
cool.
regular survival world first.
We can do that.
You know what I mean?
That'll
Just-
probably be cheaper.
The only game I've ever modded was Hollow Knight.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I've only ever modded Deltarune.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we could do Realms if we're just doing normal Minecraft because
I
Realms should be
suppose.
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically it. I've been doing so much. I just want to talk about it. And then
Yeah.
the last thing I want to recent rec is a creepypasta. Now,
Ooh.
and this is what we're doing for the episode. I'm going to read this to you guys.
Okay.
I want to preface this by saying this creepypasta has been published into a book.
Mhm.
It's like so well regarded that it's like basically it's not even really a creepypasta anymore. It's just like a story.
What's it
Jeff
called?
the Killer.
It's called Pen Pal. Yes. No, it's called
Yeah.
Pen Pal. Have you heard of this?
Jeff the Killed.
No,
Man.
Hunter.
No, I don't think
Boy,
I've heard
this
of
episode's gonna go really well.
Pen Pal?
Jeff.
Pen Pal.
Okay.
And again, these are some heavy talk. I gotta find it though, because that's why I was
Kirby
like,
sucks.
that's why before this episode I was like, oh, I gotta.
Bro's wearing Kirby socks when talking about scary things.
I know.
Mhm,
I
yeah.
was like, I gotta find this.
You have no idea how
online
excited I am
now.
to play the forest with 3 people, and then actually gonna play the forest with me.
Yeah.
Because like every single time, this is an issue. we always never get too far in the forest. We get to
I wanna
one
finish
point
that game.
and we just
I've only
Stop.
played an hour or two of the forest.
it's so peak, but I can't play by myself because I don't think
It's just scary.
it's not like grounded where I can just get really good at the game at some point, but like I can act like it's not because it's scary. I mean, it is scary. I'm terrified of half the game. We should play this forest, and we should play Sons of the Forest.
Oh,
Two.
I was going to. This is the problem because I was to do this episode. I was gonna have to figure out how to read it,
Oh.
and I don't know if I can.
Oh.
Why
because
didn't you do this before?
Well, I was going to, but he said it was gonna be his episode. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll just wait.
that's
Till
my fault.
Ay,
That's my
ay,
fault.
ay, you
Okay, no, I figured.
Did you get it?
Oh, wait, this is different. Hold on. Okay, I found it.
Get
I
a load
found
of
it.
this
Got it?
guy.
Okay.
Found the first part of it. There's 6 sections basically.
Okay. Gotcha.
So the first few are kind of short, and then the second ones are longer. Okay, so I want to you gotta play some creepy music because it's gonna be.
Alright, some creepy music.
So yeah, so this is inspired by Creepcast. The way they do their episodes is just really cool, and they just like read scary stuff, and
Yeah.
I just really like the way this is written. If I can.
Have they done this? This
Yes,
story?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what inspired me to read it because I was watching that episode, and I was like, ooh.
Hopefully they don't take down our episode for.
Wendigoon was they didn't write it. Let me just
They can't get rid of a podcast at any rate.
Wendigoon was like sobbing by the end of this creepypasta.
And I
like,
honestly-
Really?
yeah.
And I honestly don't think Wendigoon and Papa Meat. That's his. That's
I
his
know
name.
it is. I just like.
I don't think that they're those kind of people that will copyright
Yeah.
people just for doing
Oh, yeah, I don't think
something
so
like
either.
that.
Okay, so this first part of this story is called Footsteps, and just like naturally react to it, just like whatever
Okay.
you think about it. You know? I know, yeah, just like just like
I'm
this is gonna be
scared,
chill
guys.
and just kind of
Should turn
insightful.
What's it called?
The first part of this story is called Footsteps.
Should we turn off
Footsteps,
the
okay.
lights?
Turn off the lights.
No, don't do that because they'll probably
Hey,
be like, "What's going on in there?"
Kaveh, could you
Oh.
turn off the lights real quick?
Yeah.
And just kick those people out.
Yeah. Kick everybody out, please. Yeah.
And make it storm outside.
Yeah, make it really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no. This is how it starts.
Mhm.
In a quiet room, if you press your ear against a pillow, you can hear your heartbeat. As a 6-year-old boy, the muffled rhythmic beats almost sounded like soft footsteps on a carpeted floor. And so as a kid, almost every night, just as I was about to drift off to sleep, I would hear those footsteps and would be ripped back to consciousness, terrified.
Jeff the Killed.
Didn't you say you hate hearing your heartbeat in your
Yeah, I do.
For my entire childhood, I lived with my mother in a fairly nice and extremely rural neighborhood that was in a transitional phase. People of lower economic means were gradually moving in. My mother and I were 2 of these people. Those that spend any amount of time driving on interstate highways will see half houses traveling alongside them. It's an odd sight if you let yourself think about it. 2 halves of a house built somewhere miles away from where it becomes a home. Everything about those structures has a feeling of impermanence. The wood that forms them is cut where it isn't used and assembled where it doesn't stay. The most permanent things about those houses are the concrete support columns that they rest on. But even these seem transitionary in a way. My mother and I lived in one of these houses, but she took good care of it. As a kid, I always thought her house was quite nice. As I sit here and think about my old home and all the things in it, an amusing and pleasant conflict builds in my mind. I know now that we were poor, but you could have asked me then. But had you asked me then, I would have no idea what could have prompted that question. My mother must have had so little money to spend, but I never remember her saying words that tend to become the mantra of some parents when they try to subdue their children's eager shopping. We can't afford it. I don't remember wanting for much. I even had a bunk bed despite being an only child. I'm sure that this is the case for many children in low-income houses, but as a boy, despite the incongruity, I thought my home was as close to a palace as one could hope for. To me, the support columns under the house didn't represent what the house actually was, an imported structure on a makeshift foundation, but what it could be. I remember asking my mother if we could make the columns taller so our house would tower over all the others. So, see, you see now, this is more like a book. It reads like literature,
Right. Yeah.
which is why it got so popular.
Okay.
And why I heard it years ago, and then I listened to it again recently, and it left such an impact on me, and I wanted to share it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna see because this has extra stuff in it. I'm just gonna kind of
That's the
skim
thing
through.
that's a very like common thing for like families when they're in like a poorer situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will like, because I was in that kind of situation at one point.
Yeah.
The thing is weird. Weirdly enough, parents are or less lenient on buying you things when you're poorer than when you have more money.
Well, that makes sense because you'd have less money.
Yeah. Well, did I say that correctly? I don't know how I said it because my other friend was talking about it too. Like when he was younger, he got more like they went to like Lego stores and stuff like that. And got Lego stuff when they didn't have a lot of money.
Interesting.
But now that they have more money, they don't really.
I wonder if that has to do with the fact that like they have figured out how to budget and have kind of kicked needless expenses.
Maybe.
It's interesting
Possibly,
though. That is good
yeah.
insight.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, let me see. Sometimes, wait, hold on. I lost my page. I found it. Of course, I had rules to follow. I had a lot of them, in fact. But I didn't notice any of them restricting me because I was allowed to do the one thing a kid in relatively remote areas likes to do: explore. Just a short walk from my back porch was a dense and untamed wilderness that I spent some part of nearly every day surveying. These woods and waterways surrounding the neighborhood were my playground during the day. But at night, as things often do in the mind of a child, they would take on a more sinister feeling. Like Skinamarink.
Yeah, don't bring it up.
That doesn't say that. I added that part.
Okay, don't.
The apparent change in the very nature of these trees and the lake, I would think, was mostly my fault. One of my mother's rules was that I could explore the woods on the condition that I would be home before dark. To motivate my speedy return, I would play games in my mind when leaving the woods at dusk. My feet moved more quickly when I imagined that they were carrying me away from ghouls and beasts. When I would dream the footsteps would belong to these pursuers. Sometimes I pretend that a hideous and ravenous wolf was charging through the woods just behind me. I'd imagine what would happen if I stumbled or fell and it caught up with me. But when I concentrated too hard on keeping my balance, it would always seem to ensure that I lost it. Other times I convinced myself that there was an enormous clutter of spiders descending from the trees above and blanketing the earth behind, and that I was always inches away from being ensnared in a collective web, or simply overwhelmed by their numbers and tackled by the sheer weight of their individually weightless bodies.
Kid is weird.
You think that kid is weird?
Yes.
You never did that?
Well, imagine spiders consuming
Just
the earth.
imagine things like that.
That's so tasty.
You never imagine things like that as a
Imagine
kid?
a giant
I don't
lobster
know.
eating the earth.
I try not to imagine
Giant
things
lobster?
like that, because I don't really
You know
like
what kind of
spiders.
sucks? Thinking about the sun's gonna explode and you just sit there.
Yeah?
I mean, I guess that's something kind of like that, like the sun's
You
gonna
ever have
explode and
that?
consume
Like
the
you're
earth.
sitting there having all fun and dandy time with your friends, and you're just
Mhm.
like, the sun's gonna explode one day, and you just get really sad. It's
Or
like,
better
well,
yet, you ever
won't
have-
live to see it, but you still get sad because you know it's gonna happen.
Better yet, you ever having a dandy old time and then you just realize, oh, I'm gonna die one day.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
but I think the sun exploding is going to come a lot later in our life.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I'm talking about it, because
Or-
it's like,
That's why it's scary, I think, just realizing that you're gonna be dead.
Well, actually,
soon.
it'll come. I don't think we'll even be alive for it. I think we'll probably
we
die of natural
won't
causes.
we won't
before
even
then.
we won't even be thought of probably when.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost even sadder.
The sun will explode in like a billion years.
We might be a thought of because someone might be scrolling on the internet and see our podcast and be like, "Oh, who are these?"
I
people?"
yeah.
that's what I wonder too. Like, how is people gonna like think about like YouTube and stuff like that? Like YouTubers I watch now, how are they gonna be like years and years into the future? Because they're popular now. Well, like, will they still be popular
Oh,
then?
YouTube! All the YouTubers moved on to Splarn, or they
No,
just
I'm talking
disappeared.
I'm not talking about like still alive. I'm meaning like as in popularity. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll
Do
move
people
to-
are people still gonna watch like really old videos and be like, oh, the graphics of this game looks really bad.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. This looks horrible.
I don't know. It's a mystery. All right, let's continue. The things I imagined in the woods just before nightfall created a feeling of general uneasiness in me when the sun retired. So then why did you do it? Sorry.
Yeah, why would
My
you do
home
that?
offered refuge from those terrors, but the architecture of my house came to sabotage my feelings of security. The concrete stones that raised my house above the earth left a void just below the entirety of the floor of my home. Gradually, my mind came to fill this crawl space with imaginary monsters and inescapable scenarios, and they would consume my thoughts whenever I was awoken by the footsteps. I told my mom about the footsteps, and she said that I was just imagining things. This seemed an appropriate accusation given my tactics for making curfew, but I persisted enough that she blasted my ears with water from my turkey baster once just to placate me, since I insisted that it would help. Of course, it didn't. The footsteps continued that night, but I tried my best to ignore them, just like always. Despite the general eeriness of the games and footsteps would cast over the nighttime neighborhood, my life was a quiet one. I had adventures by myself, or more often with my best friend, Josh. Josh is my dad's name, so when I was reading this, I was always imagining my dad as a kid.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't recommend doing that.
Oh no.
But I suppose every kid has their adventures. The only odd or noteworthy events that I can remember happening were the occasions when I would wake up on the bottom bunk despite having gone to sleep on the top. This would only happen every now and again, but it wasn't really that strange since I'd sometimes just get up to use the bathroom or get something to drink and can remember just going back to sleep on the bottom bunk. This would happen frequently enough to remember.
Josh picked him up, put him on the bottom bunk.
Dude, your theory crafting is off the charts.
Holy jeez.
You
there
don't know
you
anything about Josh
Josh.
yet.
Yo.
Darn you, Josh. You always wake up going, curse
Yeah.
him. This would happen
You
frequently enough to
naysayer.
remember, but infrequently enough to dismiss. That's a cool sentence. In itself, waking up on the bottom bunk never really bothered me. But one night, towards the end of winter in first grade, I didn't wake up on the bottom bunk.
Oh, thanks, Josh. You're being nice now.
He had died. No I'm kidding.
Josh.
I didn't wake up at all. in
Yeah.
fact. I had heard the footsteps, but it was too far gone to be woken up by them. When I awoke, I wasn't from the sound of footsteps, but the feeling of biting cold and violent shivering. As I opened my eyes, The clashing of what I expected to see, what I had nearly always seen when I woke up in a place other than the top bunk, and what I actually saw, frustrated my senses as my mind tried to reconcile my expectations with actuality. I saw, or rather my mind showed me, the red cylindrical bars that supported the mattress of my top bunk. But beyond those, I saw stars. Gradually, the bars melted away and faded from my vision, and I was left with only those floating points of light, and the jagged crossing limbs of the tall trees that arched across them high up in the sky. I was in the woods. I shouldn't be here, I thought. The coupling of the woods with darkness was something I had trained myself to avoid. I sat up immediately and tried to make sense of where I was. I thought I was dreaming, but that didn't seem right. Neither did me being in the woods. My eyes were slowly adjusting to the limited light, and gradually the trunks of trees and shapes of overgrown bushes began to take form. I scanned over the foliage without really focusing on any of it as I searched for something I might recognize, something that might give me an indication of where I was. An unnatural shape caught my eyes, and I looked for what it felt like a very long time until I could finally discern what it was. About 10 feet in front of me, resting among a mass of tangled sticks and loose leaves, there was a deflated pool float that was shaped like a shark. What? Is that that's like surreal, like almost liminal.
Yeah,
like you're in the woods, you woke up in the woods, but you don't know where you are, and it's like a pool float with a shark.
Yeah, it's so weird. It is weird.
Good. This only added. Even after I understood what it was, I continued looking at it, trying to figure out why it was there. This only added to the surreal feeling, to the point that I was sure I must be experiencing a dream rather than the world itself. After a while, though, it seemed like I just wasn't going to wake up because I wasn't asleep. I stood up to orient myself and caught a flash of some trampled shrubs that looked like a path, but the woods were thick behind it, so I turned to look elsewhere. I didn't recognize this place. I played in the woods by my house all the time, and so I knew them really well. But I had only been in them when it was dark once before. I had run through my woods straight to my house at the edge of the dusk countless times without even having to think about how to get there. But there's a big difference between dusk and dark, and as I stood there taking in all that there was to see in the dim light, it started to creep into my mind much more forcefully that these might not actually be my woods. These might not even be my woods after all. That is creepy too. Like you think that you're in like the woods even in your house all your life, but
Yeah.
It is weird.
you're in a.
Also, I have an idea, by the way. If you need a breather to make this more interesting, we could pass it around and each person could
We'll have to
breathe
do
a
on
little bit.
Creepcast, which
Yeah.
I think I might do.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling I know where I want to.
Okay.
I don't know
Do
about
it.
that.
Yeah, maybe you don't have to. It's okay.
I'm gonna
A
say-
shiver that I think was only
Yeah.
partially due to the chilled air ran through me as I wondered how someone was supposed to find his way to a place where he didn't know where he was starting. I took a deep breath and a single step and felt a shooting pain in my foot. I lifted my leg quickly and reeled off balance, falling back to where I had woken up only moments ago. I moved my eyes from the terrain to my throbbing feet and saw what had felled me. I had stepped on a thorn. It stuck about an inch out of the middle of my foot, but it only bled when I quickly tore it out of my skin. I wound my arm back to throw it someplace where I couldn't pose any danger to me longer. But as I searched for a safe spot, I realized there wasn't one. By the light of the moon, I could see that thorns were everywhere. The whole ground was laced with this natural barbed wire. I had been lucky to only step on a single thorn just then, but as this occurred to me, I became conscious of the rest of my body. I looked at my other foot, but it was fine. As a matter of fact, so was the rest of me. I searched over my legs and feet with my eyes and hands. No cuts, no scrapes. I didn't have another scratch on me. I wasn't even that dirty.
No cuts, no butts, no coconuts.
Right. I cried for a little bit, then stood back up. So what do you think that means?
So he stepped on thorns, but then he wasn't hurt at all.
Yes. He
He's tweaking.
or he just like
He's tweaking off the fent.
yeah. Okay, I found the actual one. Thank goodness. Sorry guys, I found.
Oh, that
it.
was the fake story the whole time?
No, that was the book version, which is a lot more eloquent.
Okay.
I just don't want to read because I feel like I'm gonna read too slow.
Okay. So I found the actual creepypasta, so we can actually read the intended version.
Oh, okay.
Get a load of this
do you-
guy.
we
do you
gotta
want-
start all the way over now?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
No, it was the same. It was just there were more paragraphs in the one I was reading,
Okay.
and I was like, I want more.
Oh, you're handing it off?
Yeah, keep reading. For a
Okay.
bit.
All right. Where do I start?
The very top.
I'm just too
Very
slow.
top. So I didn't know which way to go?
hmm
Okay.
So he's in the woods. He doesn't know he has.
Is there a spot you want me to stop?
No, I'll just tell you.
Okay. I didn't know which way to go, so I just picked a direction. I resisted the urge to call out since I wasn't sure I wanted to be found by who or what might be out there. Sorry about the whistle.
It's
It might whistle
okay.
sometimes.
That's
It's okay. I walked for what seemed like hours. I tried to walk in a straight line and tried to course correct when I had to take detours, but I was a kid and I was afraid. There weren't any howls or screams, and only once did I hear any noise that scared me. It sounded like a crying baby. I think now that it was just a cat, but I panicked. I ran veering in different directions to avoid big thicks of bushes and collapsed trees. And I I was paying close attention to where I stepped because by that point my feet were in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
I paid too much attention to where I was stepping and not enough to where those steps were leading, because not long after hearing the cry I saw something that filled me with a kind of despair I haven't experienced since. It was the pool float.
So he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to run away, but
Yes. It was only 10 feet from where I had woken up. This wasn't magic or some supernatural space bending. I was lost. Up until that moment, I thought more about getting out of the woods than how I got in. But being back at the beginning caused my mind to swim. I wasn't even sure that these were my woods. I'd only been hoping that they were. Had I run in a huge circle around that spot, or did I just get turned around and start making my way back? How was I going to get out? At the time, I thought the North Star was just the brightest star, and so I looked and found the brightest one and followed it.
it's a very childish thing. Like,
Yeah.
I know this star is bright, so I'm gonna, you know what I mean,
Yes,
like that.
yeah, you know.
That's kind of cool.
Follow the Big Dipper.
Yeah, right.
Eventually, things started to look more familiar, and when I saw the ditch, a dirt ditch my friends and I would have dirt clawed wars in. whatever that
Never
means.
did that.
No.
I never did that.
I knew
No.
I had made it out. By that point, I was walking really slowly because my feet hurt so much, but I was so happy to be so close to home that I broke into a light jog. So I'm confused. Wait,
I like jog.
so he stepped on some thorns, but then he saw that he wasn't hurt, but now he is hurt?
No, he was hurting his foot because he had,
Oh,
had a
okay.
thorn in his foot. But
Okay.
he was like, wait, I'm hurt here, but there's thorns all around me, but I'm not
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
hurt
I get
at
it.
all. Only that one thorn.
Okay. I get
So
it.
he should be a lot more beaten
Right.
up.
Okay. When I actually saw the roof of my house over a neighboring lower set house, I let out a light sob and ran faster. I just wanted to be home. I had already decided that I wouldn't say anything because I had no idea what I could possibly say. I would get back in the house somehow, clean up, and get in bed. My heart sunk as I rounded the corner and my house came fully into view. Every light in the house was on. Uh-oh.
So they know he's out there because so he probably sleepwalked, which is also weird
Right.
because it's like why he would be more hurt because all the thorns.
Yes. I knew my mom was up, and I knew I would have to explain or try to explain where I had been, and I couldn't even figure out where to start. My run became a jog, which became a
Like
walk.
jog.
I saw her silhouette through the blinds, and although I was worried about how to explain things to her, that didn't matter to me at that point. I walked up the couple of steps of the porch and put my hand on the doorknob and turned. Right before I pushed it open, two arms wrapped around me and pulled me back. I screamed as loud as I could, "Mom, help me, please, Mom!"
It's good screaming. That sounds like a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Mom, help me! Help me! Help my mom! The feeling of being so close to being safe and then being physically pulled away from it filled me with a kind of dread that is, even after all these years, indescribable.
Physical sense.
The door I had been torn away from opened, and a flash of hope shot through my heart. But it wasn't my mom. It was a man, and he was enormous. I thrashed around and kicked at the shins of the person holding me while also trying to get away from the person who had just come out of my house. I was scared, but I was furious. "Let me go! Where is she? Where's my mom?
Omni-Man?
What do you do? Where's Omni-Man?"
When I heard "Where is she?" I was thinking about Batman.
Oh yeah.
Right, this
Where
is-
is she?
This is a serious moment.
Let me go. Where is she? Where's my mom? What'd you do to her? As my throat stung from screaming and I was drawing in another breath, I became aware of a sound that had been present for longer than I had perceived it. "Honey, please calm down. I've got you." It sounded like my mom.
Yeah, what?
The arm...
Sorry, spoilers.
the arms loosened and set me down. And as a man approaching me blocked out the porch light with his head, I noticed his clothes. He was a cop. I turned to face the voice behind me and saw that it really was my mom. Everything was okay. I began to cry, and the three of us went inside. "I'm so glad you're home, sweetie. I was worried I'd never see you again." By that point, she was crying too. "I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I just wanted to come home. I'm sorry." "It's okay. Just don't ever do that again. I'm not sure me or my shins could take it." A little laughter broke through my sobs, and I smiled a bit. "Well, I'm sorry for kicking you, but why'd you have to grab me like that?" Oh, is this the cop talking?
No, this is the mom.
Oh, okay. "I was just afraid that you'd run away again." I was confused. "What do you mean?" "We found your note on your pillow," she said, and pointed at the piece of paper that the police officer was sliding across the table. I picked up the note and read it. It was a running away letter. It said that I was unhappy and never wanted to see her or any of my friends again. The police officer exchanged a few words with my mom on the porch while I stared at the letter. I didn't remember writing a letter. I didn't remember anything about any of this. But even if I sometimes went to the bathroom at night and didn't remember, or even if I could have gone to the woods on my own, even if all that could have been true, the only thing I knew at that point was, this isn't how you spell my name. I didn't write this letter. Uh-oh.
Ooh, he didn't write
So-
that in.
What's his name again? Do we
Michael.
know?
Well, actually,
Michael.
his name isn't revealed in the creepypasta, but in the book version, his name is revealed as Michael.
Okay.
So that ending,
Mhm.
that, like, they got so popular that the guy who made this was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna, everyone quiet.
Okay.
It got so popular that the guy who made it was like, he was just gonna leave it at that, like the ambiguous ending, like, because that's really creepy,
That is really creepy.
Right.
Yeah.
but kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
So everyone, like, it got so popular, and so he was like, all right, he had an idea of a greater story, and he wasn't originally going to write it, but it got so popular that they were like, he was like, all right, I'm gonna write the full thing. So now so there's 5 more parts he had to write. We'll read the next one. I don't know. They progressively get longer,
Okay.
but we can probably finish this next one. So again, if you can't tell already, this might start to delve into some more heavier topics.
Yes.
You know,
Just so you know, we're at 45 minutes.
yeah.
Still got
Okay, so we're probably not gonna be able to finish the second one, but we'll get into it. We'll
Yeah.
have our insightful, witty commentary, and then
Mhm.
we'll continue. I was thinking maybe I want to read the last one, 4-hour, nighttime midnight episode,
You could. Yeah.
which would be kind of cool because I'm not good at
I
writing.
still have my scary story that I have to say.
You have to say it.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one's called Balloons. So it's cool because he has an in-universe way of explaining why he's gonna keep writing more. A couple days ago, I posted a story called Footsteps here on r/NoSleep. Reddit reference. There were a number of questions that made me curious about certain details about my childhood, and so I spoke with my mother. Exacerbated by what questions, she said, "Why don't you just tell them about the gosh darn balloons if they're so interested?" She actually said the bad word.
Yeah.
This is present day. As soon as she said that, I remembered so much about my childhood that I had forgotten. This story will provide some greater context for the previous story, which I think you should read first. Though the order isn't of vital importance, reading the story first will put you in place more effectively, since I remember the events of Footsteps first. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask me and I'll try to answer them. And you could email him during that time and he would give some, like, he would talk about the lore a little bit more and you would talk about some stuff.
Oh, okay.
Nothing too crazy. Also, both stories are long, so heads up on that. I'm just hesitant to leave out any details that might be important. When I was 5 years old, I went to an elementary school that, from what I've come to understand, was really adamant about the importance of learning through activity. It was a part of a new program designed to allow children to rise at their own pace and to It was a part of a new program designed to allow children to rise at their own pace, and to facilitate this, the school encouraged teachers to come up with really inventive lesson plans. Each teacher was given the latitude to create his or her own themes, which would run for the duration of the grade, and all the lessons in math, reading, etc. would be designed in the spirit of the theme. The themes were called groups. There was a space group, a sea group, an earth group, and the group I was in, community, which is very much less interesting than all the other groups.
Yeah,
But
it is. Yeah.
it's interesting. In kindergarten in this country, you don't learn much how to tie your shoes and how to share, so most of it isn't very memorable. I only remember 2 things very clearly. I was the best at writing my name the right way, which, okay, so we know that definitely wasn't him in the last story.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because about all the comments were like, why didn't, I mean, he could have just wrote it slightly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been really bad at writing it.
But he's very good at writing
Yeah.
his name.
So, who wrote his name? Josh.
yes, yeah, it was Josh.
And the Balloon Project, which was really the hallmark of the community group, since it was a pretty clever way to show how a community functioned on a really basic level. The Balloon Project just is such an intimidating name for some reason.
The balloon.
The Balloon Project. You probably heard of this activity. On one Friday, I remember it being Friday because I was excited about the project and it being the end of the week. Toward the beginning of the year, we walked into the classroom in the morning and saw there was a fully inflated balloon tied off with string taped to each of our desks. Sitting on each of our desks was a marker, a pen, a piece of paper, and an envelope. The project was to write a note on the paper, put it in the envelope, and put it in the envelope and attach it to the balloon, which we could draw a picture on if we wanted. Most of the kids started fighting over the balloons because they wanted different colors, but I started on my note, which I thought had a lot about. So do you understand what the project is?
Yes, yeah.
Definitely
Tied
couldn't
to a
happen
balloon,
nowadays
yeah. No, could not.
because it's just not as safe. But this was back in like to quote Wendigoon when reading this was back in the time where kids are being thrown in the white vans left and right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there wasn't as much, which is sad, but All the notes had to follow a loose structure, but we were allowed to be creative within those boundaries. My note was something like this. Hi, you found my balloon. My name is name, and I attend blank elementary school. You can keep the balloon, but I hope you write me back. I like Mighty Max, exploring, building forts, swimming, and friends. What do you like? Write me back soon. Here's $1 for the mail. On the dollar, I wrote 4 stamps right across the front, which my mom said was unnecessary, but I thought it was genius, so I did it.
So for the listeners, the lights just turned off in this room. What?
The
It's,
fudge.
okay, the teacher took a Polaroid of each of us with our balloons and had put them in the envelope along with our letter, which isn't okay.
Uh-huh.
They also included another letter that I assume explained the nature of the project and sincere.
What? Oh.
We have.
Appreciation for.
For the listeners, the power in Kave just went out.
Maybe I shouldn't be reading a scary story.
Keep going.
I'm
keep
really
going.
upset right
keep
now.
going. This makes it better.
They also included another letter that I
Oh,
assume explain. Okay, is it?
It's back on. Oh, it's going back off.
Just keep going.
Is it even recording?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Just as long as. That's
I mean,
just
it's not charging anymore, so we did lose power. But
Okay.
what in the world is going on?
That was the whole. Okay. They
Just keep
also
going.
included another letter that I assume explained the nature of the project and sincere appreciation for anyone's participation in writing back and sending photos of their city or neighborhood. That was the whole idea, to build a sense of community without having to leave the school and to establish safe contact with other people. It seemed like such a fun idea. Over the next couple of weeks, letters started to roll in. Most came back with pictures of different landmarks, and each time a letter would come in, the teacher would pin the picture on a big wall map we had put up, showing where the letter had come from and how far the balloon had traveled. It was a really smart idea, because we actually looked forward to coming to school to see if we had gotten our letter. For the duration of the year, we had 1 day a week where we could write back to our pen pal or other students' pen pal in case our letter hadn't come in yet. Mine was the last to arrive. When I came into the classroom, I looked at my desk, and once I didn't see any letter waiting for me. But as I sat down, a teacher approached me and handed me an envelope. I must have looked so excited because I was about to open it. She put her hand on mine to stop me and said, "Please don't be upset." I don't understand what she meant. Why would I be upset that my letter had come? Initially, I was mystified that she would even know what was in the envelope, but now I realized that, of course, the teachers had screened the contents to make sure there was nothing obscene. But all the same, how could I be disappointed? When I opened the envelope, I was understood. There was no letter. The only thing in the envelope was a Polaroid, but I couldn't really make out what it was. It looked like a patch of desert, but it was too blurry to decipher. It appeared as if the camera had been moved while the picture was being taken. There was no return address, so I couldn't even write back if I wanted to. I was crushed. It's kind of creepy.
Uh-oh.
The school year passed on, and the letters had stopped coming for nearly all the other students. After all, you can only continue written correspondence with the kindergartner for so long. You shouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone, including myself, had lost interest in the letters almost completely. Then I got another envelope. My excitement was rejuvenated, and I reveled in the fact that I was getting a letter when most other pen pals had abandoned their involvement. It made sense that I received another delivery. There was nothing but a blurry picture in the first one, so this was probably to make up for all that. But again, there was no letter at all. Just another picture. This one was more distinguishable, but I still didn't understand it. The photograph was angled way up, catching the top corner of a building, and the rest of the image was distorted by a lens flare from the sun. Because the balloons didn't travel very far, and because they were launched at the same day, the board became a bit cluttered, and so the policy for the students still exchanging letters became that they would take the photographs home. My best friend Josh had the second highest number of pictures taken home by the end of the year. His pen pal was really cooperative and sent in pictures from all around the neighboring city. Josh took home, I think, 4 pictures. I took home nearly 50.
Oh, that's weird.
The envelopes were all opened by the teacher, but after a while, I stopped looking at the pictures. However, I saved them in my drawers that housed my collection of rocks, baseball cards, comic book cards, Marvel metal cards, for those who might remember, and little miniature baseball batting helmets that I get out of a vending machine at Winn-Dixie after T-ball games. With the school year over, my attention turned to other things. My mama got me a stone cone machine for Christmas that year, and Josh had really coveted it. So much so that his parents had bought him a slightly nicer one for his birthday, which was toward the end of the school year. That's a jerk thing to do.
It is a jerk thing
He
to
got
do.
a stone cone machine, but I got a nicer one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll get to the end of this paragraph and stop, because we
Here we
probably
go.
have to. The summer, we had the idea that we would set up a snow cone stand to make money. We thought we'd make a fortune selling snow cones at $1. Josh lived in a different neighborhood, but we eventually decided that the neighborhood would be better because there were a lot of people who cared for their lawns. The yards in my neighborhood were slightly bigger. We did this for 5 weekends in a row until my mom told us where we had to stop. I've only recently come to understand why she did that. On the 5th weekend, Josh and I were counting our money. Because we had both had a machine, we each had a separate stack of money that we put together into one stack, and we then split it evenly. We made a total of $16 that day, and Josh paid out my $5th. A feeling of profound surprise consumed me. The dollar said 4 stamps. That's where we're gonna stop for today.
Okay. All right.
So his pen pal had come to the snow cones.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's creepy.
That's
not good.
scary.
That's not good.
It's a very creepy story, and it only gets
Um,
worse.
Yeah.
That
Well,
sounds like
you're kind
fun.
of like destroying the fabric of time.
Yeah,
with
maybe
this
I shouldn't
story.
keep
Yeah.
reading it. It's gonna, everything's
No,
gonna get
you keep
creepified.
reading it. I,
I
want
know-
the fabric of time to destroy.
I know the listeners probably think we're lying, but genuinely, the
Yeah.
power has gone out in Kaveh mid reading this.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
I
Story about
swear,
a stalker.
if we go home and we find out the power is out in Barberton again, I'm going to lose my
I
mind.
know.
I swear.
At least we got this episode out before. then.
I took a picture of
True.
Austin so we have proof that the power went out, so the Austin
Oh,
can put
okay.
it on the
Okay.
episode.
Yeah.
and I put it in an envelope and sent them a
Yeah.
balloon.
No. And it came back with 4 stamps.
Yeah.
Um,
4 stamps meaning FOR, not
Mm.
FORER.
yeah.
No.
So.
I don't think it'd be out at home because my mom didn't text me.
Oh, that's a good picture. Okay.
Well, we're gonna try to get this fixed.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
three are gonna fix the power.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably end the episode now.
All right. Wish us luck, Media Junkies. We're gonna plunge into the darkness.
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Peace out, Media Junkies.